So, hello again, and welcome back to my Designing My Mental Health Journey. I wanted to give you guys another quick update with regards to how things have been going for me with regards to my mental health journey. And as I said in my previous video, in my previous videos, it has been, a very long process, and I definitely understand that it can be a lengthy process. I certainly don't feel like I'm 100%, out of the woods yet. But in terms of my recovery, I feel like I've come, an awfully long way since February. And, I've said before, but, once again, I will say that, the majority of my recovery, I attribute to the attention and the direction, that I've gone, the attention that I've given my recovery and the direction that I've gone with that. So, I've said many times from day one that I was very committed to of recovery, and I was determined that no matter what I had to do, I had to find a way to to get myself through that period and to help myself feel better. So thankfully, there has been an awful lot of improvement in many areas. Um, I am still seeing some symptoms, and I'll just briefly and let you guys know how that's been going as well. So one of the things that I'm still noticing a lot is surrounds my memory and my thought processes. So I do find that it's I have a very, and you guys might have even noticed this, sometimes in my videos, but there have been times when I find it like my memory is not what it was. And I also, sometimes I have trouble putting my thoughts together. So, one of the ways that I've been trying to approach that is, through making lists and taking notes and that kind of thing, because I find that I just, my brain capacity in terms of, what I can hold on to and how quickly I can process all that, that has been impacted a little bit by, my trauma and all of the um, trouble that I was struggling with since February. So making lists and stuff like that can really help. It helps me to stay on track and you know and accomplish what I need to accomplish on a daily basis. Another really big symptom that I'm finding has stuck with me throughout this process, and I continue to struggle with sometimes, is surrounds the issue with physical exertion. And so what I've noticed is that anytime I have been really pushing myself physically, um, over the course of especially a couple of days, say if I have 2 or 3 days, like I had this past week, with regards to the trailer, there was a lot of work involved, a lot of setting up and that kind of thing. um, the longer I do this, the longer I go through this process, the more I've come to the point where I'm able now to recognize that I need to maintain balance with that. Um, but what I've been finding happens when I exert myself physically too much, um, especially over a period of a couple of days, is there will be a morning when I'll wake up and my brain is just not functioning properly. Like I feel it's difficult to wake. My brain will feel really numb. It's very hard to focus or concentrate on anything, and I will just feel absolutely fatigued and exhausted. So that's something that I've become extremely mindful about because obviously nobody wants to feel like that, and to me it's just a signal, that my brain is trying to tell me that I'm doing too much. And so again, I have to use that information that, that my brain and my body are giving me to try to regulate myself in terms of, what I'm doing physically. And, it's understandable because I have been, historically one to really push myself hard. When it comes to the physical aspect, I really enjoy, not just, I really enjoy working out, and I enjoy, physical labor as well. So it's just something that, again, it's really, really important to monitor yourself and, take the actions necessary to make sure that you're maintaining a balance, in that area. Um, with regards to sleep, I still struggle with sleep in the sense that I I guess one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that for me, it's all about peace of mind. I think I sleep much more soundly, and I get a more restful sleep, peace of mind. And so that's one of the things that I'm really hoping in this new environment is going to do for me, because I feel less stressed when I'm out here in the trailer and in these beautiful surroundings. In the country, I just feel more at ease, in general. So that's been a really big one for me, and it was a big part of what influenced this decision to get the trailer, because um, peace of mind is just so important, and being able to be in a a lot less stressful environment has been a really big piece for me. I will say I've been going through a little bit of an adjustment period with this trailer, because obviously when you're in new surroundings, and you're not used to the noises and the different uh, things that you have to be exposed to in a new environment, it takes a little while to get adjusted. But, with each night that I'm here now, I find I'm sleeping better. And one thing that's really impacting me in a positive way in regards to that has been the fresh air. And so during the days, I'm able to open all the windows in the trailer, and I actually spend a lot more time, I find, too, outside when I'm here. And that's been a really big plus for me, because obviously I need the movement and the activity as well. So those are all things that, really impact my sleep. Um, the other thing, that's different about being in a trailer versus being in your house is that that we've had recently, plays a much bigger role, because obviously it's not as stable as an environment in terms of the physical structure of the building. And so, the walls are thin and that kind of thing. So, the noise and everything's impacted my sleep as well. But in general terms, you know, I think the longer I'm here, like I said, that will improve. And when it comes to peace of mind, I definitely feel like, this being in this environment has had a positive impact on that. With regards to my diet, I do feel like I definitely need some work in that area. Um, I kind of got off the wagon a little bit there for a while with the whole vegan effort. There are some things that it's interesting, because when you make those lifestyle changes, there are certain things that stick with you. So again, I don't think it necessarily has to be a linear process. For me, it's been more. There are some changes that I've made that I have stuck with, and then there are some that I did go back. I don't. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but I was finding that without any meat whatsoever in my diet, I did start to get quite weak, and I felt quite fatigued. So I had gone back to eating chicken and fish and that kind of thing, and I've still been doing that throughout this process. But having said that, I'm still waiting to see the dietitian, and I'm hoping to be able to get some tips and stuff. And I need to do a little bit more research as well, so that I can, kind of figure that part of it out. But when it comes to things like staying away from milk and things like that, I still do consume eggs on occasion, But when it comes to the cow's milk, I haven't touched that at all. And it's interesting because I will say that I have been finding a difference in the level of inflammation in my body. And something else that I've noticed, that's been huge for me is I always found, because I do have, a cup of coffee, 1 cup of coffee every morning, when I get up, on that sipping the cow's milk in the coffee. Um, I just don't have the same level of congestion, in my sinuses and my throat, and that's been actually fantastic. But what that says to me is that there's been a huge improvement in the amount of inflammation in my body related to the changeover. So what I typically use now is oat milk, and I use that in all my recipes and different things like that. So that's been a really positive change. And some smaller changes that I've made are things like, I try to use only vegan mayonnaise now, vegan margarine, and vegan cheese as well. So I am planning on, now that I've kind of settled into the trailer, I'm planning on trying to work my way back into that lifestyle a lot more, because I do find that I feel a lot better, when I'm eating that way. In terms of the family care group, that I was participating in, that was that 10-week program that was designed to help families dealing with mental health and addictions issues. So that has finished now. The comments that I would like to make with regards to that family care group is I did find it really, really helpful for several reasons. So one was that, I you're given a lot of information in terms of dealing with mental health and addictions. It's a very informative process. You're given a lot of information that's not even covered, in the weekly um, Zoom calls. But it was very informative. We were given a lot of information on, communication and, understanding self care and all of those different pieces, which was really, really great. The one thing that I will say about it is that the whole the whole program, seemed to be pretty broad. And I think a lot of families who are dealing with mental health and addictions issues, um, I, I kind of wish that there was a program that was very intensive. I feel like, families who are dealing with those kinds of things need some really specific guidance and, and even individual help. And so that's something that hopefully, as time goes on, Eastern Health will, and, they're always working and, trying to tweak these programs and stuff. And they did take information from us at the end of the group, so that they could continue to, improve and so on. But I just think that the number of people who are requiring these services right now makes it very, very difficult to provide, individual um, guidance and that kind of thing. So the program was very broad, but at the same time, it was helpful. And the other thing I found, the other real positive I took away from that process was that um, being involved with a group of people who are struggling from similar issues as you, uh, that can be a very helpful experience. Just for the connection alone, it's a big thing to be able to connect with people who are dealing with the same kinds of things that you are. And so I think everybody in the group kind of felt like that had been a really positive experience because, for one, it kind of brings you some perspective in terms of what you're dealing with yourself. Because what you quickly learn is that there are always people who are going through a lot more than what you are. And no, not to belittle, what we're going through, but it just helps to gain some perspective in terms of knowing that you're not alone, knowing that there's people out there dealing with, things that are, seem a lot bigger and heavier than what you're going through. And, just getting that connection piece, being able to connect with them and know that, feel like you have a support system in place. And the group was a very positive experience that way. I found everybody in this particular group was very supportive of one another, and even being able to give some direction and guidance within the group in terms of what we've each dealt with ourselves. So that finished. The With regards to the counseling piece, I still have been working with a counselor, but I am planning on finishing up with that pretty soon. I may just, my next call, maybe the last one for me. It has been really helpful to have somebody to discuss things with, bounce things off of, to help you get some perspective in terms of the things that you're dealing with. So that process has been very positive for me. Um, but again, I kind of feel like I'm at a point now where um, I don't want to be utilizing or tying up those services if I feel like I no longer need them. So that's something that I'm probably going to be finishing up with very soon. Um, with regards to the physical symptoms surrounding my mental health issues and stuff, uh, the digestive issues that I was having, I think I mentioned in my last video that there had come a point when my digestive system had actually shut down. That was basically between the spring and summer, and I had some really bad experiences with that. But through the help of my doctor, and I started taking some new medication and stuff. Fortunately, that has been going a lot better, so I'm very grateful for that. And all of the testing that I had done, came back, everything came back normal, so that's really good. I am very mindful, about nutrition, and that's something that I know I've plugged away a lot about that on my videos, but it's something that's just so crucial. Um, so I'm very mindful in terms of the veganism. I now, I purchased a B12 spray that I actually take every day. And just to make sure, and something else I take regularly is vitamin D and vitamin C. And I think those two things go hand in hand. But I have noticed a big difference just in terms of how, my body and my brain are functioning when I'm nutrition. Um, and lastly, I just wanted to mention about my this whole change in my surroundings and stuff. Uh, has there's been a lot of so much stuff going on over the past week. Where I've been trying to get moved and trying to get settled in here and trying to get the trailer prepared and everything. Obviously, I've fallen off the wagon in terms of my morning routine, and everything else. So I am in the process of trying to prepare a new routine to try to figure out, how that's going to work best for me here, and trying to create some consistency around that as well. So those are uh, those are the next steps for me in terms of moving forward and trying to continue on with this journey. So hopefully, again, you'll stick with me as I go through this process. I have still have some wrinkles to work out, but I am hoping that this new environment is going to be very conducive to having a positive impact on not just me, but on my business and on my ability to continue with this journey as well. So I hope you stick with me. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye for now.